Sublime magnificence.
Hey guys, you know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent Big Ugly himself, Omari Ellis Feo Grande on YouTube, back with another episode that this guy hasn't seen, and we got a doozy for you. But before I get into that, of course, I gotta introduce the running mate, the co-host, one of my best friends in the world, El Director himself, Bill Smith.
Hey, thank you for having me back, Omari. It's so great to come back and watch these movies. This has been one of the best things we've done in 2022. Yeah. I just love, like, even if we weren't recording this and putting this on YouTube, just the idea of like a movie club, like a book club, more people should do it. It's so fun. It's so fun. You get to experience things that in this indecisive, so many options world that you're forced to experience that you may have never chosen before then, and sometimes you're gonna hit some gems and sometimes you're gonna hit some turds, and both can be very, very interesting.
Yeah, and we've done a little bit of both on this show in particular. However, more gems than turds, and I believe we might have another one this week as we're doing the we're doing the Tollywood film, not Bollywood apparently, the Tollywood film RRR.
RRR is a 2022 film. It is a fictitious story about two legendary revolutionaries and their journey away from home before they started fighting for their country in the 1920s. Excuse me. It is written and directed by S.S. Rajamouli, and it stars NTR or NT Rama and Ram Charan Teja, and it is, as you said, it is, I was ignorant to this before watching this film and then starting to dig into a little bit of the details. Mm-hmm. But yeah, as like, I always just thought Bollywood meant a film from India.
Same.
But no, that's talking about like a specific movie production company facility in India.
Oh, okay.
Like you would talk about Universal Pictures,
or Hollywood,
or like, well, yeah,
well,
like
it's not a company, but it's a specific region of making movies,
right? And then, as you said, this is a Tollywood picture.
Yes, Tollywood picture, and yeah, I saw it a while ago. I'll go ahead and go into how I saw it. Oh, by the way, RRR stands for Rise, Roar, and Revolt, I believe.
Well, it does and it doesn't. I mean, that's on the titles, but it's misleading, and it also is called something different in almost every country. In reality, RRR stands for the writer and director Rajamouli and the stars Rama and Ram.
Okay, fair enough. But they put Rise, Roar, Revolt, and it still works with the themes of this movie. And yeah, I saw it at work, and I thought I would be kind of cheating with it when I first said it, but I also felt like I'd seen the latter 90% of it, and it turns out that's exactly what happened. I saw it during a slow day at work, so I was able to pay a lot of attention, especially in the latter half. I was almost watching the entire time. It was early last year. It was around the time we had started to do this show. But it was 3.5 hours. I had already bombed with the Molly's game, which I had also saw it worked, and kind of was like, that's okay. So I was like, I want to watch this on my own again before recommending it. However, with our award season theme and this being nominated for some kind of awards out there, it's like, hey, RRR, You haven't seen it? Let's watch it. Fuck it. If it's bad, it's bad. I don't care. It's got enough action in it, I think, to save it, even if it's not a good movie. So that's why I suggested it. Is there a reason you hadn't seen it? My bad.
I had put it on like a list in the back somewhere because it had garnered so much hype over the summer.
Okay.
But I had also, part of its hype was it's very long. And it's also, you know, air quotes, a foreign film, and that's kind of just another hurdle to get past for me when there's, again, so many options out there in the world, and you know, it's still reasonably new. Yeah. So that's kind of why I hadn't seen it, but what I was expecting, we're still in our like award season theme. This is getting pulled out because it's getting talked about for Best Picture. It was a huge movie over the summer when it came to Netflix, and it's gigantic globally. It's the whole reason
that people turned it on at work that day, because I came in at a certain point. They're like, I'm like, what are you guys watching? And they're like, oh, this it was recommended #1 on Netflix, so we just clicked it. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's at #1 on Netflix for quite a while, and so I knew, and I had seen some Indian films. There was a section of my life where a friend of mine, when he would have people over, just kind of had like what I would call just like a Bollywood film playing in the background. And I would often see several. You good?
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm listening to you.
Oh,
but I'm quite literally getting lost in my own eyes because I'm looking at the little white dot in the pupils. And I'm just moving around. But yes, you had a friend that would watch a lot of movies, and you know, he what you would call Bollywood. And yeah, I was listening. Sorry. You're right. That is kind of distracting to just be like.
But yeah, it's so that's kind of where I like. So I knew from then. What I would have said from a Bollywood film is like often a heightened reality. Your hero, your main character, the action, all of that kind of stuff. It's kind of like in how kung fu films, wushu films are heightened reality as far as like gravity's rules at times, and like physics fighting physics during fight scenes and stuff like that. So I was kind of prepared. That's kind of a consistent piece of Indian cinema. And then I was also thinking a lot of melodrama, like a lot of like kind of soap opera-y kind of stuff is probably also what I was anticipating, if I'm honest.
Okay. Yeah, I was expecting silly shit because certain things had popped in my head. And I'm like, well, if it's nominated for films, there's got to be some super duper serious moments. Also, I remembered there being dancing. Because it's been, like I said, almost a year since the last time I had seen this. But yeah, so that's pretty much what we were expecting.
Did you watch English audio?
I did.
Okay, so did I.
And that's why I watched English audio.
I thought the dubbing was great.
Same.
Like I feel like there's people that can get past it not matching the lips. Yeah. Pretty easily, and then there's people that's just somehow a roadblock for them. But I thought the dubbing was great, and I think a lot of actors did their own dubbing. So I was cool with that. I just wanted to check and see if you.
Yeah, I did watch it with English. I thought about switching it to Hindi, but I'm like, no. If I remembered in a previous thing, I'm pretty sure when when we did Fooly Cooley, that you mentioned, if you can watch it in English, you're going to try you're at the very least going to try to watch it in English.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what, I'll do the same. I had assumed that it would be in Hindi when I heard it was getting nominated for Best Foreign Film. And I'm like, well, technically at work, there's not a lot of audio, and it's, the subtitles are up there anyway. So I thought it would be in Hindi the whole time.
Right.
Part of me wants to go back and watch it with the Hindi dub, because some of the things that involve people talking to each other in different languages in the dub is almost entirely English to English, and then they say, I don't understand you. So part of me just wants to see how it sounds in the other language. If they tried, if say Beam tries to speak English to Jenny and she's not understanding, but she speaks English back still,
Right.
So that's what I'm curious about. Or if it's all just in Hindi and they're still doing the exact same thing. Also, the subtitles, won't be that different from what people are actually saying like they were for me on this one.
Right.
So yeah, getting into the film, some of your initial reactions. For me, I thought it was funny about the whole no animals were harmed in this, and they had to say that all the horses, wolves, sheep, so. They had a huge list of CGI'd animals. I'm like, the fact that your list has to be that big.
Means that some fucked up shit is gonna happen to some animals in this movie.
Or something in general. There's gonna be a lot of CGI animals, apparently.
Yeah.
And they just tell you that right off the bat, like, hey, calm down. The animals are CGI.
So I'll start by saying the opening scene is a rough one. It's hard to watch. I mean, the young girl doing the song is beautiful. The music in this movie is beautiful.
I love their use of music.
The song that comes over the opening title sequence at the beginning.
Yes.
That's just like, I don't know what to call it. Who knows what to call it? Tell me what it's called, please. Like, what is
rather than sounding ignorant, I'm just gonna straight up agree with you. Please tell us what to call it. Right.
It's like a morphing of like what we in the Western in an American dialect would refer to like a scatting beatboxing, a hybrid-y thing involving like dudaks and much faster, but like mouth
it was fantastic.
It's so good.
And like I said, I hadn't seen the people buying the daughter scene because I said I saw the latter 90%. So that I was just as like, holy shit, I didn't realize they were going in like that.
And then it's another initial reaction would be that it's also very interesting to see, pretty, probably rightfully so, the British Empire finally being a villain. And this might be a consistent theme in Indian films, which would make a lot of sense. But we don't see it over here. And like, I know I've heard references in a lot of the different British films that I've talked to, or British media that I've seen, like different shows and stuff. There are people that have cracked jokes about how, like, they're almost lucky that Hitler did what he did, because or else like they would be documented as.
Yeah, I realized that watching this movie, like, damn. The British really were assholes. Like, the British Empire in those days, before the rest of the world caught up to them, technology wise, if this is a fraction of truth, it's I got
awful.
a glimpse of people's hatred, of the true hatred for the British when the Queen died. I got a glimpse of that with the response from everybody not named Britain. I was like, Oh, they pissed off a lot more people than I thought they did. I knew we had our beef with them back in the past, obviously, but and that should tell you something. If even America's like, yeah, fuck them motherfuckers, because back in the day, what they did, it's like,
well,
okay.
yeah, and specifically the royal family, because their fortune is literally based on the jewels and land that they
conquered,
that they acquired from all of those
That's
those
actually
nations
true.
that they conquered. So
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah, specifically the royal family. So I can see
like
that.
all the properties that they own right now were taken at some point, and then they have there's a phrase about a man's lower half called the crown jewels, but that's like an actual thing. Like the royal family personally, and I guess in some form the British government owns some crazy war chest of just
Jewels, yeah,
of the most insane jewels that they've just robbed from all over the globe.
Yeah.
But anyway, random tangent. But yeah, it was just because we don't see that in our movies.
No, not often anyway. We may see the occasional like British villain.
If it's about the revolution.
Yeah,
if it's about the revolution, the British are villains. But even then, they're not really ever depicted on this level of evil. I don't recall.
No, we'd rather depict our own that way, which I mean, we do have bad history over here as well. But we'd rather focus on that than the British, whereas India is like, nah, fuck them motherfuckers. Look what they did. Oh,
if it wasn't for Germany and Russia, British would be the villains in all of our films. But instead, it's all Russians and Germans.
Instead, we say British villains for like spy movies. But yeah, so the fucking. It's kind of a standout moment as well, but it's also an initial reaction because it's one of the first scenes when we get introduced to motherfucking Ram Raju,
the fire,
motherfucking him. HIM, the fire. Yeah, initially they do the R's. They're like the story with the capital R, and it's the kid.
And that's the scene with the girl. Yeah.
Then it's like the fire, and you got this nigga on here, a mob of people trying to attack, and he just solos the mob of people to arrest one dude, and he's just. Which I also hadn't seen before, and I was like, "Holy shit!" He's just like, "You want him alive?" And no, that was a later scene, but he still pulled the dude in and just like, "Holy shit, this dude is ridiculous!" Like, if you haven't seen the movie before, you look at that and you're like, "All right, this guy's a real one." And there's a term like I've used the term "him" a couple times. Obviously, for people who don't understand, just saying he's that dude. He's him, the unstoppable, top of the mountain type dude. He's one of those. Yeah. He's a specimen above all others.
Yeah. Like I kept telling a buddy, he's Steve Rogers.
Yeah, he's peak humanity, like a Steve Rogers.
Yeah. Yeah, just tell yourself that every time you bump into like how can he do that? Just tell yourself he's Steve Rogers. We're just not being told why he's a superhuman. Exactly. He's just superhuman.
Yeah. Then we meet the Water, who gets a John Wick like warning to somebody. He's like, "You guys kidnapped a girl, but there's a shepherd nearby, and you don't want to piss him off.
You've taken a piece of his flock." And the thing about this shepherd is he gonna do anything to get that piece of his flock back. Anything.
He will reach in a tiger's mouth to pull the sheep out. Like, you know what? I'm like, man, he's getting a John Wick introduction. And you see him immediately going face to face with a fucking tiger, and it's like, oh, he's a him too. Like, these two guys are just.
This movie tells us that everything our two main characters do is a calculated planned event. Nothing is an accident. There are so many moments in that scene that are calculated movements and strategical things that should be 1 in a billion odds that it happens. And it happens like 6 times in that chase scene. The 1 in the billion thing that he needed to have happened, and the chase continued to the final destination where he needed that tiger to be. He needed to have everything. Like, he had to have the dog chase him first.
Yeah.
Because the tiger was faster. The tiger in full sprint is faster than the human in full sprint.
Yes.
And so he needs the tiger to be able to subdue the tiger. He needs the dog
to go off. He needs the wolf to distract the tiger.
Right.
So he can build up enough distance toward where the trap is.
And then he needs to be able to hit that stick moment.
Yeah.
And that's his other moment that he knew right there in that spot he was going to need that moment, and struck that. And but the thing is, you don't care.
You really don't.
You don't care.
It's so epic. I once described this I described this to people at work. I'm like, you guys remember the movie 300? They're like, yeah. Okay, so you know how that took a real life event, the Spartans holding off the Persians, but they highly romanticized it and made everything even more epic with a lot of slow motion? This is that, but with the Indian Revolution. And 2 dudes as opposed to their whole thing. It's like, how did the Indian Revolution start?
And 2 musical numbers. And it's kind of in the tone of a Jackie Chan film most of the time, but also an MCU movie. But then there's really hard dramatic moments, like an Oscar film. But then there's also really hard action scenes, like in a John Wick.
It's everything.
It's ridiculous. So we're gonna start jumping around now.
Yeah, go ahead.
And in the musical number Natu, Jenny has a face while she is watching Beam dance, and it is the face of this face the entire time it's watching this movie, and it's basically like,
I'm so happy to hear you say that, because that's how I felt. At first with the little girl singing, I was like, wait, is this movie less wacky than I thought it would be? No, it's the first 5 minutes. They gotta start somewhere. And then dude fucking soloing a mob, and then followed by dude chasing the tiger and trying to pull the net, like flexing maximum flex. Look at my muscles.
which I think that entire body is CGI.
Given
on my second rewatch, I'm pretty sure I noticed that entire upper torso of his is CGI.
Given his clothed shape, I could see that being the
case. How he wears a shirt for the rest of the movie, even when he's getting whipped.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. He did have his shirt off there, because I almost thought about that near the end. I'm like,
it's on the entire time. I was
gonna say, is that the reason he never takes his shirt off? So it's just gonna be implied muscles, and that might be.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Ram, I'm pretty sure that nigga's actually the way he looks.
I'm in love. I love him.
That dude's awesome.
I don't know. I gotta watch more things with him. But like I may have to make a phone call to Jonathan Majors and tell him that I have a new love, and it's Raju.
Yeah, that dude, just awesome, and the fucking mustache is fucking perfect. Everything is just. You've heard the term Gary Stu before. This nigga is a Gary Stu, but I don't care. I don't care at all.
I frequently don't give a shit about Mary Sue's or Gary Stu's or any of it. I frequently have zero problem with it, and
Thank you. Thank you.
And usually the reason why they're doing it is because the character is just like dripping with charisma and just natural bornness.
And that's what
like
this
you
guy
said,
is.
it's just like,
and in addition to looking the way he is and doing all the shit that he can do, he's still a top tier wingman too to this other guy. It's like,
oh my god. Like, so I've watched a lot of like behind the scenes stuff and a couple of interviews and some things like that. And one of the themes that obviously there's a ton of stuff going on in this film. There's a ton of themes. There's a ton of stuff. Obviously, number one, but he wanted one of the themes. Not number one.
Yeah, I got you.
Never mind that. And I'll go back to what I was actually trying to say. One of the many themes that he wanted to get across was platonic male love. And that's a good thing. And that he thought that it wasn't being shown enough in his media. And I think that's also very true in our media.
Yeah.
And he wanted to depict two men just like absolutely adoring each other, not in a romantic way, just like they see each other and there's just an instant, it's love at first sight if you didn't fuck.
Yeah, pretty much.
Is what these two characters do. And it's adorable. They're like tender with each other. They'll like touch they'll touch shoulders. They'll check on them. There'll be a knee tap every once in a while. I noticed, and I don't know if that's a cultural thing. But yeah, I loved the bond between the two of them and their connection.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And specifically highlighting their first meeting, saving the child on the bridge.
That was my first standout moment, and that is where I caught the movie the first time I watched. The first thing I noticed about this movie the people had turned on was that fucking them saving the kid. I didn't even see like the setup to why the kid needed to be saved. I just saw two motherfuckers swinging across the bridge with explosions while one throws a kid to the other guy who's throwing a flag to him that he then wraps around himself to protect him from the fire of the explosion. And then they end it with a fucking epic, forearm handshake like, ugh.
All unspoken.
All unspoken. They didn't even know each other's name.
There was.
I didn't even realize the motherfuckers had rode a motorcycle and a horse off of a fucking bridge to do it.
And then that becomes their signature from the moment on. Anytime they need to travel, either they're on Beam's bike together, or they got a bike and a or they got a motorcycle and a horse somehow.
And the whole thing, they got this really good friendship, but it should be at least somewhat spoken that initially Ram is undercover, unknowingly looking for Beam. Like they don't realize that they are each other's main antagonists to their life goals or what they're trying to do. Beam's trying to save the girl that got kidnapped. Ram's trying to capture this dude that they got. He's trying to capture this guy that they got a John Wick warning about because he wants a promotion to special officer for some reason.
And we just like that's a key part of this film is an hour and 45 minutes, an hour and 50 minutes of this film, all we know is that Ram's character, Alluri, is working in the British police force. And all we know about him is he wants to be the best policeman possible. That's all we've been shown from him.
Yeah, he soloed the mob of people.
Than his friendship with Beam.
Yeah, he soloed the mob of people to get the promotion and was still denied it. And so when they promised the promotion for capturing Beam, he's like, "You want him dead or alive?" And the guy and his commanding officer's like, if it's him, he could probably fucking do it. That man terrifies me. You better send him on this mission. Like, then why didn't you promote his ass? You clearly are like, oh yeah, he could do it.
Because of racism.
Why. I'm about to say we know why. Because his life is worth less than a bullet, as we keep getting reminded.
That we get 2 scenes of being told that.
If not 3. I feel like that guy gives that speech like 3 or 4 times. Like, we get the speech. Guy.
Yeah, we get the speech from him twice.
Okay.
And then we get the redemption scene of Alluri giving the speech back to him.
Yeah. This is an English bullet. It was made by English craftsmen. It traveled on English ships and is made from English things. It costs so and so pound sterling. You don't waste that on Indians. Essentially, is his paraphrased version of his quote. That guy.
Now that we're into the friendship, the next thing I want to point out is what I initially half jokingly noted as the Nacho song.
It's actually the next moment on mine as well.
I knew it was going to happen at some point, or I assumed it was going to happen at some point because I was just aware of that being a
staple
of Indian film. When it happened, it was incredible. I don't know how else to say it.
Seeing it without audio was one thing because I was at work, but seeing it this time, I'm like, oh, I actually really love this scene.
Well, because our 2 stars are incredible. They are incredible.
The fucking dancing move they do. They're dancing really well, and they're dancing really fucking hard. Like, yeah. When the guy, when afterwards they're like, "Oh God, I can't walk." I can believe it. These motherfuckers was going in. What I love, one of the things I like was the white guys copying them angrily, like trying to do the same dances, but they all had angry faces on. Like, we can't be upstage. Meanwhile, they're just nacho, fucking jump kick. The jump kick move. I'm like, I like that move. I'm not athletic enough to add that to any dance repertoire I have, but I fucking love to just jump sidekick just to flex on people, I guess. No reason.
I don't have the stats on that scene. But I can tell you, just as far as like being tired of doing it, the closing musical number, the second number that ends the film, took 65 days to shoot. And also, oddly enough, the majority of it was filmed in the presidential palace in Kiev, Ukraine, less than a month before the war began.
Well, damn.
Just an interesting factoid. But yeah, it took them 65 days. This entire film took well over 400 days to shoot, and it is the most expensive Indian film of all time. And then an important.
Gonna make an over-romanticized version of your country's independence battle. You spend the money like that.
In addition, I don't know what salaries were for the film, but it is apparently very unusual for HTR Jr. and Ram to be starring in this film co-leading. It's apparently very atypical in Indian cinema. Usually there is a hero.
Gotcha.
And then that is it. And then there's, the bit players and whatever, and the story revolves around him.
Yeah, it's definitely a co-lead type situation, but if you did want to pick a co-leader just to be safe because of your typical films things, that would also be easy to discern which one of them is the guy, because they even have one of the characters be like, oh shit, I thought what I was doing was important. You though.
Yeah. like in apparently like the press, like different press, and I've seen this talked about many times. So apparently it's a pretty big deal of like, typically this film would have been about Ram's character, Alluri, or something like that.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a Beam type, but he's a much smaller character and a much less paid actor and a much less significant star quality actor. This is, I heard it attributed in a couple of different ways. I heard one reporter refer to it like Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt co-starring in the Quentin Tarantino movie.
Oh yeah,
a couple years ago. Yeah, I can't believe I'm blanking on it right now. But I heard a different person equate to it as if, like, imagine it's 1992 and it's July and Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger are starring in an action movie together.
That's very appropriate. That's something that happens later.
That's what this is like for Indian cinema, for the Indian fans.
Gotcha.
This is
holy shit.
Two gigantic actors, and it like never happens in their films. And so that also may be one of the reasons why it's one of the most expensive Indian films ever.
Also true. But
they are both incredible, and they completely drop all pretense of character, basically. Like there's not much character through most of the musical number. They're looking directly into camera. They're staring directly into camera, breaking the fourth wall.
They're singing to you about their dance. Like, this is when you dance.
And I don't give a shit.
And I love it.
I don't give a shit. I am standing there going,
it is a fantastic counter to the argument the white guy made of y'all don't know shit about culture. And the dude didn't even understand what he was saying at first. And of course, again, Ram being the fucking true friend he is, he's like, he don't know what he's saying, but I know what he's saying, so I got him. He just confiscates the drums for a second, like, give me a second. Boom, 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 the dude. Yeah, you know what this fucking means. and then gives the drumsticks to the black guy who's like, that sounds fucking sick. And it just fucking goes. And again, with my whole thing earlier about Ram being a true wingman, when all the white dudes like get tired and fall down, and it's just the two of them going, and then they give each other that look, that competition look, like, we're not gonna say we're competitive with one another, but we're fucking competitive with one another. They start dancing, but then Rob notices out the corner of his eyes while every girl seems to be cheering for him, because of course they would. One girl's cheering for Beam, and Rob's like, you know what? Fuck it. Ah, my knee. Ooh, I fell. Oh god. I'm like, good on you, man. I don't know how hard it would be for me to overcome my competitive edge to wingman for someone else. But then again, I probably would, because I'm like, whatever.
I am so connected to their friendship at this point through the opening meeting, and then the montage through the I want to get the song Dosti. Okay. The song Dosi that plays through their friendship montage is another incredible banger. I'm so connected to their fucking friendship that I tear up a little bit when Ram makes the sacrifice play at the end of the dance and gives so that Beam could just get that much more sauce.
Speaking of their friendship and the movie trying to sell it, I love the song that constantly plays throughout. That's like, no, these two are really good friends, though they shouldn't be, and it's clearly gonna lead to a betrayal, guys. How badly will this affect them? Like, that's literally like one of the lines. Will this friendship end in betrayal? Like, oh shit. And then when it actually happens, like, two friends now betrayed by each other. The narrator song. But yeah, the next one is when they finally get revealed who is who. And because what's his name captures a dude to try and get some information about Beam, and the dude hits him with a snake, like, haha, motherfucker, bandit crate, you're gonna die from poison. And fucking Beam saves his life and then tells him, like, hey buddy, my name's not Akhtar, my name's Beam. I'm after a girl that I'm trying to save. And he's so recovered from poison, he can't say anything back. And you just see him, like, trying to reach out through him. But of course, this dude who's been poisoned by a seemingly, it wasn't, but seemingly uncurable poison. The second Beam...
Well, he doesn't say it's uncurable.
He says not even the British people have a cure for this, I thought.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why I said seemingly, because it was cured by their cultural things. But he fucking gets up and just starts beating the shit out of a wall in rage. Just, I'm like, holy shit, this man is bad. Beat the shit out of the wall, and then.
We gotta skip a few things.
I'm just gonna say the assault on the thing.
Right. Well, no, we gotta talk about that. I'm just saying I'm just saying we're gonna have a long episode. We will,
but we gotta talk about that.
Right. No, that's definitely something we gotta talk about. You know about the tiger chase scene. And at first, because he says he grabs the tiger's head and he's like, I'm so sorry for what we have to do. I'm so sorry. Just know that it's for the greatest purpose.
Yeah, I'm using you for our purposes, and right. I apologize.
So you're like, so you leave that scene like,
did they kill the tiger?
Right? Did they kill the tiger? What did they are part of his powers about absorbing the tiger or something like that? Like, what's going on here? And then you get a sneak that they're hoarding big hunks of meat, and they're feeding something behind a trap door or behind a locked door. So you're like, okay, all right, they kept the tiger alive. Cool. All right, the tiger's gonna come in play somehow. Can't wait for when that tiger comes into play.
This was the next scene that I really saw, and it was also what I had typed on standout moments before even rewatching this film.
Right. I mean, how can you not? The truck, they're having a huge giant front yard garden party. The truck barrels through the front gate, hits a fucking car. That car does a bunch of rolls, absolutely squashes and kills multiple people. Then it does a big side swipe as it's doing the big U-turn, J-turn, handbrake maneuver.
Tokyo
They've also perfectly timed it to where they're ripping the giant tarp off of the cargo bed of this truck, where Beam jumps out in slow motion, holding two torches and surrounded by every dangerous animal that you could possibly imagine existing in the forests of India.
Every indigenous dangerous animals.
They threw some fucking deers in there. They were like, oh, those horns look pretty sharp. Throw them in there. They'll start running around causing chaos. That'll be good.
That's what cause chaos they do.
But there's multiple tigers. Cheetahs / jaguars. There are wolves. There are bears. Weird Indian Asian bear. Those really weird Asian bears that have the long pointy nose, and
they're
scary looking. They're in there. It's fucking It's fucking chaos. And
not to be outdone, fucking Raju showing up on a fucking flaming gas chariot.
A flaming chariot.
Jumping off, and it's like, oh, now I notice the significance of the fire versus water theme as they fight each other. That's everywhere. God.
That fight scene is absolutely epic.
Yes. Oh my God! You
at the end of the day, you got a gun. It results in the Beam makes it to the backyard, but at the end of the day, they got multiple guns on him and on the little girl that they're trying to save. And you know that when these people say continue to move and we put a bullet in her brain, they're fucking real about it.
Yeah.
They do not give two shits about that girl.
Yeah.
She's just a party favor that they bring out to entertain guests of the wife.
Yeah.
Like, it's so fucked. So Beam has to surrender. And then it becomes Ram's movie.
And to me, like, they do the fucking handshake. Well, not handshake, but it's still symbolic of the two hands. And then suddenly we get Ram's backstory. They're like, yeah, by the way, if you couldn't figure it out, Ram's been a good guy the whole time. And we're going to show you why.
Yeah, his childhood flashback is another one of our heavy drama moments. Like you would pull it out of an Oscar film.
Oh, aim.
And
shoot.
It's hard. It's just like our opening scene that causes Beam to be involved in our plot. The birth of Ram's character starts with some horrible tragedies, and he never make a declaration, guys. Don't do it. Don't make an ultimatum declaration. It never goes well. Like, just make a hopeful suggestion. But he declares that he will never set foot on his home soil again until he can provide a weapon for every hand in the village, because that was his father's dream.
He's like, we turn people away with one weapon. Imagine if we all fucking had them. He's like,
a gun for every one of us, Ram. Raju, promise us that.
He's also Ram.
Well, Ram is his character, or is the actor's name.
They refer to him as Ram a couple times too. He's like something Ram Raju or some shit.
His character's name is Alluri, and I think that's how a lot of people refer to him.
A full name.
And then it's Alluri Sitarama Raju.
Okay, I've seen Ram a few times in the subtitle, so that's where I got it.
Okay. But yeah, Ram is the actor's name. That's why I keep looking down and seeing that in bold on top. What are we talking about?
Backstory. Declaration about.
You absolutely killed the momentum.
Declaration about saving the village. Don't do it. He was getting a weapon for everybody, etc. Yeah. But don't do it. Don't make that kind of declaration, because you lock yourself into something. But now he also reveals that why he wanted to be a special officer is they get to control the weapons transports. And so he could actually clear that goal. However, to get that promotion, he captured who is now his best friend.
Right.
And after having to publicly flog him, which we won't go into too much detail for, but that stands out in my head because that was a vicious scene.
I mean, yeah, there's a million standout moments in this. Every scene is a standout moment.
Yeah.
They just jump from standout moment to standout moment.
That's true.
I mean, that's literally like we go from his flashback and backstory directly into him being told he's going to be flogged, and then that goes directly into the scene where they're going to flog him.
Yeah.
There's no fucking rest in this movie. But yeah, eventually I will give the caveat that although it looks like it looks like he's changing, he's having that silent moment to himself in the street. He does not decide that he does not vocalize that he has to save Beam and Beam's little girl.
Until post the flogging.
Until his uncle tells him that he finally got everything he wanted.
True.
He got the consignment, and he was like, "Okay, well, now that I've got control of a consignment, we've got to get it and run, and let's save Beam." So if he hadn't gotten the consignment job yet,
he probably.
I don't know. Maybe
he definitely seemed.
It looked like he had changed.
He had definitely had a lot of doubts about whether or not what he was doing was right, especially during the thing. Like, he went from seeming like he was just telling the guy to surrender like a cop would to, please, man, fucking surrender. Dude,
right.
Dude, I don't want to fucking kill you. Just surrender and you can live and we can keep moving on. I'm gonna do a song number. Oh, God damn it. But however, the song number is what fully motivated him to go, yeah, I'm saving this dude. Fuck it. Fuck getting a truck full of weapons. That motherfucker himself can be a weapon. He sang a song and caused people to protest. Nah, right. That's the weapon we fucking need. Motivation.
Yeah. Yep.
And then he breaks him out. For a bit, he breaks him out from being hanged, but he gets caught. Beam eventually finds out everything. Highly emotional moment of him finding out what Rom was up to the whole time from Rob's girlfriend. And he's just like, oh, no, I gotta go back and save him. No, I did not. He's like, and he even says, I did not. That's what I was talking about earlier when he's like, I did not realize my quest was too small. This is him. This is his story. I need to save this guy. He's trying to save the whole country. I just came to save this little girl, which I don't regret doing. Trust me.
Technically, I already did.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, if I were to leave her side, I'm super recognizable. She's just a fucking child. Like, if we gave her to a couple of other random adults from the village and I left her, that's probably the safest thing for her.
Also true. It's like, I've got a reputation. People are telling John Wick stories about me. I need to but either way, I gotta go save my friend. So they break him out from jail. Over the top shit. They're fucking one on top.
Yeah, the jailbreak, we can go into some detail. I mean, the first half of it is done with our guy Rom riding Beam's shoulders, and they become a mecha.
I want to say Mecha Sheba because of fucking Venture Brothers. Right. That's all I think is Mecha Sheba, but I was just like Mecha Sheba. But that's what they were doing, and they had like fucking 2 fucking shotguns and fucking also. Hilarious side note, the whole time in prison, Rob pull-ups.
Right, he's just straight up doing pull-ups.
They're like, why the fuck are you doing pull-ups? We're gonna kill you. I'm always looking toward my
As they're walking up to the cell, they're like, sir, we've barely given him any rations in a month.
We feed him once a week.
Any man should be crawling on their knees begging for mercy right now. And then we turn the corner, of course, and he's just getting ripped, pumping. Getting them guns right.
At which point, I'm like, okay, villains, shoot the dude in the head. It's over. Don't give him a chance to get out of here. He clearly is fully convinced he's getting out of here and killing you. End it. I don't care about trying to send a message. Last time he tried to send a message, dude sang a song and everyone revolted. I'm not trying to send any more messages if I'm them. Nonetheless, I'm happy they didn't because we got what we got. The fucking jailbreak with the Mecha Sheba shit. And then they go to the woods. Dude prays to like a statue that had a bow and arrow. And then they get surrounded by soldiers. And then we get Rambo. As in Ram with the fucking bow, murdering everybody after making the most epic of fucking speeches. I came to this area to do so and so, so and so. And then it finally gets the reveal of him shirtless, bow and arrow, fucking fire behind him, and he's like. And a song playing that's literally about how awesome he is as he murders folks. And then they're like, hey, don't forget about Beam over here, as he raises from the water with a fucking spear. And then the song starts talking about how awesome Beam is too, as he's murdering people. And then it's like, yeah, Ram and Beam are the motherfucking shit, as they're riding a horse and a fucking motorcycle, because Ram's like, fuck these small fries, let's kill the motherfucker in the castle. Yeah. And so they ride to the fucking castle
and kill him. And we get the wife's death, which is glorious, because she might even be more purely evil than her husband.
It's hot,
like I feel like the husband's evil, and then she's pure evil, and has been like. Because she's the one who like just pulls the bladed whip out of nowhere. Yeah. Like Jen, my wife, was like, was she just keeping that under her skirt this whole time?
Yeah, just use this.
Insane. So we get both of their deaths, and it's amazing.
And the happiest of endings. He finds a weapons cache that didn't blow up in the massacre's explosion, and delivers on his message. Not only
Beam basically just throws it at him. He's like, "Hey, you said you wanted weapons, right?
There you go." I went while the building was collapsing. Beam went and grabbed all the weapons inside.
Right. It would have been like, this would have been a lot easier if you would have just told me what you were trying to do way back when. And we could have just gone and gotten you a bunch of weapons.
Also true, because he was definitely down with the British Empire shit. And so he's like, yeah, man, fucking ride or die, let's go. And so he's like, hey, you needed weapons? We got weapons. All right, so go back. Also, Beam's love interest escaped unharmed. I'm assuming they get to live happily ever after as well. Obviously, Ram goes with his girlfriend Sita, who we haven't mentioned much, but she's key enough to the story. But he gets to see her and the rest of his village. I'm not gonna lie, when his brother died after using a similar line from earlier in the movie that Beam used, I was gonna be, so did his brother not actually die and it grew up to be Beam? No, his brother died. He just had a similar habit of eating with his left hand and his mother not liking it.
Yeah, and it was just to show that he really fell in love with Beam. Like he replaced him as a little brother.
Yeah, that's his new little brother. It's like my little brother did that. You're my little brother now.
Yeah,
and the village being happy, and then it's just like, yeah, they led the revolution to get rid of the British. This is how it started. Not really, but if literally 300 people can stop the Persian Empire, we can have 2 people take down the British. So yeah, the movie was great. Obviously, like you said, it goes from standout moment to standout moment. We could be here forever talking about the whole fucking movie.
Yeah.
So let's see. Well, not that many roles for myself. If I just want to go solely on race-specific casting, I would just be the drummer. But if
I would be one of the Brits. But
yeah, I mean, you could be the villain dude.
Yeah. I'm working on the facial hair slowly.
You do have the beard for it. But realistically,
I don't think either of us are right for it, but I mean, I would be Beam and you would be Alluri.
Exactly. Either of those roles would be fun as shit to be, just because they're just epic as all hell. Like,
yeah,
I don't know what to tell you, but yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and go to final thoughts. Fuck it. I don't. I have, as I mentioned on the show, or if I haven't, I'll say it now. I have this habit of being. Oh, nice. Fits his black cherry. I had a Kraken rum and coke myself. I have a habit of being semi-doubtful about my opinions. And with the history of membered favorably things on here, cough cough Molly's game, I question anything that I'm not 100% sure that I like. And so I watched it and I was like, I hope I don't regret this. I don't regret it. But fuck it. After I got to a certain point in the movie, I'm not even sure which one of the standout moments we listed. Probably him standing with the fire bow in the woods. I was like, fuck it. I don't even care if Bill hates this and this is the worst movie he's ever seen. I don't regret recommending this movie at all. I like it. It's a little long, yeah, but it worked for me. I mean, I watched Avengers. Long movies is whatever. I watched One Piece, okay? I'm okay with long form narratives. But I didn't think it would or should win Best Picture versus, double E, double A, O. But at least it's up for something, because I do think it deserves something, some kind of recognition, and it seems like it's getting a lot of it. I love the movie. I half contemplated while we were talking about it, watching it when we finish, but I may have to stream or something. Not sure. But yeah, it's it's a good movie. Just talking about it, I'm like, man, these moments were so good.
Did you just stream watching it?
No. At least not legally.
Well, you can just stream reacting to it.
Oh, yeah, and tell people, like, hey, this is a watch-along. Go to Netflix, start watching this movie. If I had a big enough fan base, maybe. Have a big enough fan base to have a Discord and be like, hey, Discord watch-along. Because some big streamers do that. They're like, movie night, join me in Discord. But that would definitely be something I would recommend for a movie night. I want as many people to see this movie as possible.
Yeah.
You?
So it can be a great film. It can be a film that I absolutely love, but also a film that I know is not right for the Oscars.
That's what I was saying. Like, yeah.
Inside of my top 10 movies of all time, lives The Raid Redemption.
Okay.
And that's not gonna win Best Picture.
Never.
Even though it's in my top 10.
Agreed.
So I don't really think it's going to. I mean, currently sitting, it is. Oh, let me do a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's 15th in Best Picture rankings right now.
Fair.
So that's probably they bumped it up to 10 possible nominations several years ago. So that could potentially, right now they're sitting about 5 spots out of a nomination. But it's likely to get nominated for foreign film, and there's a good chance it could win it strictly off of the back of it being one of the highest grossing global films of the year.
Yeah.
I absolutely adored this film. I absolutely adored watching it. It is one of the most fun watching experiences I have had in a long time. It is fresh. So this could change. But I would not be surprised at all if at some point in the near future I make room for this in my top 10.
Fair enough.
I loved watching this film. I loved our 2 leads. I love the music in the film. I love the action sequences, as ridiculous as they are.
Dude.
I love the CG, even though it's at times not the greatest.
Yeah.
We may have come to be used to.
On the note of the music, like you said, when he reveals to him, when one of them finds out that the other is, I think it's when Rom first finds out that that guy could be Beam, not necessarily Beam talking to him, but when he's like, "Holy shit." The music that hits, the like, doo, 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 just as he combined with his acting of, holy shit, my life is not going the way I want it to right now. My best friend is my enemy, and then he gets the full reveal from Beam himself, and just the use of music in this film works fantastically.
Yeah, and I wasn't prepared for the quality of acting.
Yeah.
Like I told you, I was expecting a lot of melodrama. I was expecting a lot of. I thought the stars of Indian film were writing their looks.
Yeah.
That there was going to be a lot of just like slow motion of removing sunglasses and staring hauntingly off into the distance,
which I think Ron
kind of things. Which there's still many points of that, but then there's also, like you said, there's incredible acting through this film by a lot of people involved, and it's incredible. I've already watched it twice this week.
Beam's face finding out Rom's plan as he listens to I said her name earlier, Sita. As he listens to Sita, Beam's face of oh shit. Like,
yeah, it made me cry. It made me cry. That scene. I've already watched it twice this week, and I'm not going to be surprised if I watch it a third time.
See, that's what I'm saying.
I almost put it on my phone at work to play in the background because I was a little bored.
TV at work because now we made sure that like only people in my position or higher can control the TVs. I almost put it on like once the night shift started. Like, fuck it, the last 3 hours are going to be this movie. Y'all are fucking watching it. I let them pick something because whatever, but still. I considered it heavily, and I just watched it this morning. I was gonna watch it a second time in one day.
It's great. It's great. It is such a fun watch. I highly recommend people watch it with people. Watch it with somebody else. Watch it with someone to react to, or watch it with a big group of people. Like, I want to throw a party just to watch this movie. A lot of people won't go for it because it's like you want to have us all over to sit and watch a 3.5 hour movie.
Why not?
Yeah, I do. I'm gonna supply the liquor, and we're gonna have some finger snacks,
get some drinks, lower the sobriety a bit, make it even better.
And it's going to be a blast. Nobody worry about silently watching. Like, we can all talk. It's a great fucking time. I love this film.
Yeah, same. So, what are we watching next week?
Next week is not going to be as great of a time.
Oh,
I mean, it's hard. Like you
match.
You can't always top. You know, there's going to be some things that get dropped that like we've had 2 bangers in a row as far as I'm concerned. They are boom, right in my sweet spot of films.
I agree. And while I can admit Everything Everywhere All at Once is the better film, RRR is more up the alley of what I normally watch.
Right. Everything Everywhere All at Once is somehow it's a little bit more qualified for the Oscars somehow. But I couldn't tell you right now which one I prefer more. I love them both. Those 2 films, the 2 films we've watched this last 2 weeks, are probably my favorite films of 2022.
I'll agree.
So far.
I'll agree easy.
So this year, there's a film being nominated for they're likely to be nominated for Best Picture. Currently, it's tracking number 3. And it is The Banshees of Inisherin. It is starring Colin Farrell, and it is written and directed by Martin McDonagh. and it is supposed to be a great film. But we're not going to watch that film.
Okay.
Instead, we're going to watch the previous time Martin McDonagh and Colin Farrell got together and made a film. And it is called In Bruges. And it is also a critical darling. It was also nominated for a ton of awards. And key to this show, Omari hasn't seen it.
Yeah. I have not seen it.
Next week,
even heard of it.
Next week, we're going to be watching the 2008 film In Bruges.
All right, that's right. That's what you can see next week. And if you want to see more of us, obviously, you can check out other videos on this channel. We got a playlist for all our episodes and everything, including Everything Everywhere All at Once, which we reviewed last week. I also have some other videos on my channel talking about Dragon Ball Z with a friend of mine that goes by the name of Super Jazz.
Stupid Jazz.
Stupid Jazz. JK. Whatever.
It's not. He said it. It. If you don't watch Whatever You Want, I don't. You don't get it.
Exactly.
You're out of the joke. I can't help you. Watch Whatever We Want. Watch Whatever We Want, will ya?
Exactly. Yeah. So Super Jazz. I also have a video with Jazz. Whatever We Want podcast every week, every Wednesday on the chat on the aforementioned channel, Whatever We Want podcast. I also have a Twitter and Twitch. That's Giotavi. That is GIOTAVI.
Come on in. Stop on by.
Thank you very much. Bill, you got anything to say to the folks? Any shout outs you want to make? Nope. All right. Well, thank you guys very much for watching. We'll catch you next week in Bruges. Adios this.